has changed. America has changed. If something were to happen tomorrow, how self-sufficient would you be? Could you grow your own food? Could you sustain your own livestock? Could you survive? This is the We Grow Our Show with Nick and Don. Nick and Don talk about everything from politics to planting. They cover techniques, methods, and tips on how to not only survive, but thrive. Visit the website at WeGrowOurs.com. Lock and load. This is the We Grow Our Show. Get your grow on.
Welcome back to the We Grow Our Show. We've got a very special show lined up. This is a Family Feud edition?
I don't know what it is yet.
Me neither. Dawn and I are off our rockers a bit. We invited our wives along for the ride today.
In the studio with us.
In the Situation Room.
Oh, that's right, the Situation Room. You remember that from the other shows, right? The Situation Room?
Okay, just for the record, we just had Mrs. Cupper nodding at the microphone. So, why don't we introduce everybody to start? I wish you all could see the redness that's transpiring on the other side of the table here.
This is going to be fun.
Well, I'm Nick Klein, and my wife is here, Cherie Klein. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
And we drug our wives along today. Go ahead, Dawn, introduce your wife.
I am Don, and this is my wife, Angela Cupper.
Hello, everyone.
So, this week we're going to talk a little bit about our story. This is kind of, we're going to ask the wives' point of view, really, of getting into the prepping and the urban homesteading and that type of thing. And, you know, as any married couple out there knows, we both have, I'm trying to do this without ending up on the couch tonight, folks. So we both, the man and the wife in the relationship have different perspectives. And even though you might be saying the same words, it ain't always the same meaning.
Yep.
So, we'll start off with me and Cherie, if that's all right.
Sure, go ahead.
So, I had an incident at work, and this was, 5 years ago. It was about 6 months after we'd been married. I started a new job, had a house payment, had all this stuff to do, and a few of you have heard this story before, but basically, I saw how out of control my life was. I saw that I had very minimal input in where I was going to go if things went south bad. And it went south fast. My boss walked me out into the parking lot and straight up told me that he had hired my replacement and told me what a crappy employee I was. And, which is cool. I mean, I was, I don't know how to say this. I mean,
crappy employee?
No, I wasn't, because I was doing everything right. We had a couple of really bad misunderstandings, and it wasn't until he brings this other clown in, and luckily the other dude was a complete, moron, but, I started trying to train this guy. And, in me training him, my boss saw how much I actually knew and how good I was at my job. And, when it came down to brass tacks, the other guy didn't work there anymore and I did. But anyway, that moment out in the parking lot, really changed my perspective on things, and it went from gumdrops and lollipops to holy crap, my life is spinning out of control. And it was just like that. Boom. And so I came home, and I was obviously a little bit flustered, and I talked to Cherie, and I said, honey, we really, we need to prepare for the worst. We need to prepare for economic uncertainty, possible economic collapse on a personal level, and then eventually we got into preparing for much larger catastrophes. But that's what started it rolling. And I kid you not, I came home that day and I said, we ought to start storing up some food, maybe do a little bit of livestock or something. And Cherie, what was your response? Do you remember?
I wanted to put in an underground bunker.
And that, folks, is why I love my wife, amongst many other things.
I gotta ask, how long have you been married at this point?
8 months, maybe?
So still newlyweds.
Yeah, not quite a year, yeah.
Yeah, and I had no idea. I mean, she said she wanted to put in an underground bunker, but she didn't just say, yeah, let's put in a bunker. She said, I have a great idea. Let's buy a Connex box, get it rhino lined, dig a hole in the backyard and shove it in it and bury it. I was immediately impressed because she had thought it through. I mean, she had a plan and all I had to do was execute said plan. But I was a little bit intimidated because I was like, what else were you thinking of doing? I thought maybe she'd already started digging the hole. I don't know. But yeah, so we, that's what kicked us off really. And shortly after that, we had a conversation about pets. And we live in this really small, not a small house, but a small lot in an HOA. And I wanted a dog and we settled on a rabbit. Well, she says a rabbit. I thought there was an S on the end of it. And I thought she said rabbits. And, well, go ahead. How was the conversation in your mind?
So we decided we were going to pick out a pet. And he wanted a dog, but I know that we're both too lazy to own a dog. And so
lazy? No. All right. You got the floor. Go.
And so, well, I know that we both, worked full time and it wasn't fair to have a dog, in the backyard that always wanted to go for a walk when we got home. So we settled on a rabbit, still cute, but not as high maintenance as a dog. And so we talked about it and we were going to buy one. And we went to the place where you buy a rabbit. And it just so happened they had many rabbits. And my husband's never been one to do it halfway. So we came home that night, I think, with 6 rabbits. Five rabbits. 5 rabbits. And when you come home with 5 rabbits, as long as you have 1 boy rabbit and 1 girl rabbit out of those 5 rabbits, you have lots of rabbits.
I don't know what other option you have with rabbits other than a boy and a girl, but since there were 5 of them, there was 1 boy and 4 girls, and that turned into 15 breeding rabbits in about 4 months. And then after that 15, about another 4 months later, I had 50 breeding females in a matter of 8 months of starting off. So the backyard went from a nice townhome backyard that turned into redneck style country living, compacted into 5,700 square feet. So what was your feelings when I hit my maximum production there at the house?
We'll just say if you put it on a color scale, it was red. On a scale of 1 to 10, we were at an 11.
Okay, so it was a bit intense. That was before I really figured out how to build cages right. I was going broke saving money, if you will. I was buying every $20 hutch off of Craigslist I could find. And I didn't realize how bad the backyard looked. I mean, it worked. I was hitting some pretty massive production goals, but it was not a good looking backyard. So then we drug my in-laws into it. So what was when I told you that they gave me permission to build on the back lot at their place? What was your thoughts?
My initial thought was, yay, we will finally clear out the backyard. And then my second thought after thinking about it was, that's a lot more space. He doesn't let space go to waste. I just, without knowing it, agreed to a lot more rabbits.
We hit 700 a month production on that lot. So, and it was going pretty good for a while, but we won't get into the details of why we stopped out there. It was a kind of a market issue and a broker that kind of did me wrong, but it worked out pretty good for a while. But now I've got a pretty awesome, cage building shop out there. So now we're down to a few less rabbits and, Yeah, I think we've evened out a little bit. We've got our goals set. We've got some production goals to hit, and we're going to keep going with that. So, what are your concerns going into the future here, hon?
I don't know where to start.
That's a long list.
We'll just say he doesn't have a honey to do list. He has a honey to do book.
Oh, jeez.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. But this is one of the reasons we're doing this show is to illustrate that if you've already got your partner, make sure you guys are on the same page, because her vision of what a farm should look like is much prettier than what I had in mind. My farm that I grew up on, it wasn't complete disarray, but it was, there's broken equipment and there's stuff left out. There's a bit of a mess, and it's a functioning mess, but it is a mess nonetheless. So now I sound like Dr. Seuss, a mess nonetheless. It was a functioning mess, but a mess nonetheless. Anyway, so sit down with your spouse, go over some concerns that are motivating you to change your lifestyle to grow your own food. Really sit down and plan it. Bring them on board. And I can say that's probably the failure that I recognize the most is I didn't tap into that partnership. I basically grabbed the horn and said, all right, let's do it, and just kind of took off on my own with it. We've been successful, but then I try and bring her in halfway through it, and she's a little bit lost because I haven't filled her in on everything, and that gets to be a bit of a problem. But she's playing a bigger part. Yeah, she's nodding now. There's that radio nod. At least hit the microphone when you're nodding. All right, so we can hear it a little bit. There you go. Bring the audience along for the nod. Anyway, so communication is the answer to many problems. I'm going to go ahead and hand the talking stick over to the Cupper crew.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Well, I have a few questions now.
Oh, gosh.
Because, all right, you had all these rabbits in your backyard. You moved them over to another workshop, brought your in-laws in on it, and Cherie finally got her backyard back, right? And it's a nice, beautiful backyard now. I just want to make sure communication-wise.
That's chapter number 4.
That's in the to-do book.
Yes, that's in the to-do book. Well, we'll just say as soon as we move the rabbits out, Nick moved more projects in.
Yeah, that's when I started up the protein processing with turtles and a couple other alternative fuels projects and 12 ducks.
And a deer gerbil.
The Cavide Mara. And I'll have to get a picture posted of that. We've got it looks like a deer got with a gerbil and had a baby. And it's like a cloven hoof, long-legged gerbil running around in my backyard. It's pretty awesome. No purpose whatsoever. It's just back there to consume food and look funny.
That might scare the crap out of somebody, though.
Well, my neighbor, he thought that there was somebody coming into the backyard because he could hear clicking on the fence. And Louise.
Oh.
And so I come home and he's like, hey, you got a deer in your backyard? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I saw this thing that looks like, I don't know, man. It's like a rat mixed with a deer or something. It's like a rabbit. I mean, do rabbits and deer breed? I'm like, no, they don't. That's a Cavide Mara. A what? Anyway, it was kind of a fun conversation with him.
Your neighbors must love you.
Oh, that's what's cool is I know at least 2 of them are smoking weed every night. So they're not calling the cops, and then the people behind us have these big, I don't know if they're Rottweilers or what, but there's a big old pile of dookie every morning. I can smell that dog poop over anything in my backyard. So nobody's
they outlaw everything you have. And, and the dogs
totally.
are okay.
Yeah, but
Love
I mean,
that.
My ducks don't bark, and they're Muscovy, so the most they ever do is squeak. And it's really, they do have messy poo, but as long as you can control where they are, you're good. And anyway, other questions from the panel?
Well, I do. I think we should get into. I'd like to learn about the prepping or that Cherie does. What her part is as far as I know she does canning, right?
Yeah, she's the mass canner over here.
Yeah.
I came over to my in-laws the other day, and the counters were just covered in cans, and she'd gone to the farmers. How much did you spend on that? What was your tonnage on that food that you got?
I spent $20.
$20 on what?
Close to 80 pounds of food, I think. It was squash and green beans and tomatoes and peppers and jalapenos and
just a bunch of stuff.
And
cucumbers.
Cucumbers.
Cucumbers in there.
I think that was the majority. It was a lot of each of those.
Yeah, I mean, we have one of those collapsible wagons you get at Costco, or where'd you get your wagon?
It was at Sam's Club.
Sam's Club, okay. Well, filled to the brim and then overflowing with food. And her and her mom and sisters got together and canned all of it. And except for these 2 giant 4-foot squash that I don't know what you're going to do with. They're still on the counter.
We're going to eat them.
Okay.
They're banana squash.
Oh.
I don't know if I've had a banana squash.
I have not had a banana squash.
They're delicious.
They're huge, whatever they are. But yeah, so she's my canning expert.
Yeah. So, Cherie, what got you, I mean, besides being married to Nick, what's your, passion behind the prepping thing? What are you preparing for? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, growing up, I've always had, we've always had a year's supply. My grandparents, were always really into canning. I mean, they canned everything. I had peaches from the year I was born about 5 years ago. So they were 20-year-old peaches.
Wow.
And they were still delicious. So they've just always canned, and we've always enjoyed that. I mean, like every family, we've gone through our hard times where we've had to dig into our year supply. And so it was always nice to me. I mean, I've been at that point in my life where I've done without, and I'd really rather never hit that point again. And so I think it's important that you are always ready, because although, we always hope there's never an economic collapse or, nothing ever goes wrong with the government or anything like that. It's always a very realistic possibility that your spouse can come home from work one day and, be laid off, or, stuff at work happens and you don't get a paycheck for a while. And so it's nice to know that when those days come, you're not going to starve. I like food. I don't like to go without food. And so I plan for food.
And I know your husband does not like to go without food. He does not miss a meal, does he?
He is like a hobbit. He's added more meals into his day.
Thank you.
He was talking about putting a grill on his truck.
And a microwave. And a refrigerator.
Yes, and a refrigerator.
I still plan on doing that. I think it would be economically sound to have all of those things in my truck.
Yes, that way if you get a flat tire on the freeway, you can just pull over and eat.
Yeah, screw changing it. I've got food and rest. I'm good.
And cold water in Arizona.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, you want something done, ingenuity-wise, you give it to a fat, lazy guy. We'll get it figured out.
Mind you, I haven't missed a meal in a long time myself, so I'm not putting you down here.
Well, I'd say in the room out of all 4 of us, I'm definitely the most fluffy. For that route.
He thought getting a year supply would be best if he could carry it with him at all times.
Oh yeah, that was a nervous laugh from the other side of the table. Did you hear that?
It's okay. We've had this discussion a lot.
Nice.
Have the bruises healed since the last time? Huh? Have they? Just kidding. She doesn't hit me that hard. Awesome. Moving on. Did that get awkward for everyone, or is it just me that's sweating right now?
Just a little.
Anything. All right, so I suppose it's our turn.
Yep,
All
your
right.
turn.
So where did you start? I figured I should follow the same pattern.
So what was the catalyst that changed your mind to, hey, we should probably be prepared more than the...
Well, I think we've been married for a long time.
Go ahead, say it, honey. Say it.
Well, 18 years. Just about.
Was that a question mark at the end of that?
No. It was,
As Olaf says in Frozen, you hesitated.
well, yeah, I was thinking, we've been married for 18 years. I think, 6 happy years of marriage is pretty good.
1/3.
Many as 6?
Yes. So,
6 happy years. How long have you been married? 18 years.
so we, I don't know how we got into prepping. I mean, since we've been married, we've agreed to prepare. We've just never done it until we started growing our own food. So,
Till your mother gave me 2 black tote things that she used for fish. And I brought them home and said, honey, I'm going to start a garden. And he looked at me and said, in those?
yeah, and then we did aquaponics.
Well, I guess that works. You bring home fish beds, you're going to end up with aquaponics.
Yeah, we actually started out in the kitchen. We lived in an HOA. We've moved. We've been married 18 years, just about. We have moved, I think, every 2 years with the exception of twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right around
So
there.
we've done a lot of moving because we had a really good real estate market out here in Arizona. So if you lived for the house for 2 years as your primary residence, you didn't have to pay capital gains. Oh. So there was this
I
whole
thought
thing
that
with
maybe
that.
you were just gypsies.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe a little bit,
She likes to move. I hate it. I get to move. She gets to redecorate.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Change of face. Okay.
It's
So,
fun.
yeah, we've lived in a lot of places. So portability has always been an issue. And it's probably one of the reasons we didn't do a lot of prepping other than, the rice and beans in the cabinet in case something happens. I was always thinking 3 days, 5 days, something like that. And then my brother-in-law got into economics with me. My political beliefs really started making a change. I'm a staunch libertarian and I could see things coming and they did. And I think it was the economic collapse, the recession 10 years ago that started that really got us going.
Yeah.
A little louder. She's nodding again.
Yeah, sorry. I nod a lot.
Radio nod is uh-huh. That's how you nod on the radio.
Sorry. Uh-huh.
Hey, look at you.
I'm a pro now.
A pronoun?
She's just going to make her laugh. She's not going to talk at all now.
Sorry, I'm going to
Just
stop.
red. She's going to move in the corner and that's it.
Shush. Anyway.
So, all right, I'm going to continue now. We were in an HOA. I got into hydroponics. I've told this story a bit. Started spending too much money on nutrients and we ran out of space in our kitchen.
Yeah, we ran out of space, quite literally. I would walk into the kitchen and run into some branches that smacked me in the face.
Oh, jeez.
We had tomatoes growing from our ceiling though. How cool is that?
That is
And
pretty cool.
beans, and yeah, it was interesting. It was
Yeah.
like a jungle.
It was a jungle in our kitchen.
our
We had like a
kitchen.
little cutout nookie thing that was all hydroponics and
It
growing
grew up
food.
and over.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Because I've always wanted to have a reason for walking through my kitchen with a machete.
Yeah. We had one.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I know what we're starting up next.
Sorry,
It gets
Sheree.
expensive in, as far as the nutrients go for hydroponics.
Oh, that's
so
true.
that's where we moved outside into aquaponics and I told my wife I was going to start a business with her after that and she said, okay.
All right.
That's kind of the story. I mean,
Well, he said there was fish, and I'm like, fish? I like fish. Okay. Fish are great.
yeah. And we turned that into a garden. I guess we uprooted our lives at that point.
Well, part of the reason we uprooted is that the place we're staying in HOA, we were renting.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of the house, the doctor that was back east, didn't renew with the leasing company.
Oh.
So they came and told us that we had less than 30 days to leave the property.
Wow. That's
So-
since been illegal to do that.
Well, we were
Yeah.
on month to month at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on month to month. So we
When-
looked out in an area with,
Yeah, because I have a tendency when we do move,
Mhm.
I find diamonds in the rough, let's just say.
yeah, that's what he calls them.
Yeah.
Diamonds in the rough. We're talking really, really, really rough.
Like still coal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even still transforming into coal.
Oh, okay. Because Sheree will tell you that any project I ever get into is not running when I get it.
No, he brought home a go-kart and pulled it out of the truck, and my neighbor's like, "That's awesome! Does it run?" I said, "Of course not, or he wouldn't have bought it."
See, that's the best time to buy it is when it's broken and somebody's given up on it because they just want it gone. And I can pick it up, fix it up, and then make money off of it.
And mark it up.
And mark it up. There you go.
That makes sense. So, and that's what I do with houses. I find houses that are kind of yucky. And
I'm sorry, kinda.
And we fix them up and make them livable, and then we were selling them for a lot more. So this house, we were renting, because the economy took a dump, and we ended up, in a bad spot with real estate. So we decided instead of purchasing, we were going to rent. So we did that. Again, I found a diamond in the rough. I mean, this place was trashed, and we were able to rent it for next to nothing. So it was saving us a fortune. And that's where we started our aquaponics, started growing in the kitchen. And then when we moved, we decided we needed land this time, with 3 kids, 3 dogs, the whole thing. It was probably about time to get some land. My wife is a horse lover. She has owned horses and shown horses for how long?
For my entire life. I actually rode horses before I could walk.
Wow.
So, that had a lot to do with it. We still don't have a horse, but she's moved now to goats. How many do we have?
I think we have 7.
And how many on the way?
2 or 3.
Yeah. So we have a lot of
I just had
goats.
this visual of you trying to ride a goat. And
Yeah.
Well, actually, the goats were his thing.
Well, now wait a minute. The goats were not my thing.
They were your
I
thing at
wanted
first.
a goat since we had some property.
Don,
wanted
why
mom-
were you trying to ride the goat?
Yes. Nice. That's a vision I didn't need, right? My mom got me 2 male withers, just goats, wethers, whatever, pets. And then all of a sudden now she's buying goats left and right and milking goats and making
yeah, it
cheese
was
and making
funny.
milk. So it's, wow.
It was funny because at first I was like, goats? I don't want goats. Why would I want goats? Because I thought of petting zoo goats. They're kind of smelly and weird. And then
So are husbands though, right?
Yeah, well, you get past that.
They're not bad
How
once
many
you get
more
past
years
the
do I
smell.
have?
Well, let's see. It's been 18. 18.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Love you, honey.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, then we got into the goats, and I got into the milking goats and the mini alpines, and discovered that goat milk is something that our one son, who is allergic to cow milk and to casein, could digest comfortably. So we ended up acquiring more and more goats.
Nice. How many gallons a day would you say you can produce out of your goats? And how many goats do you have?
I do believe we have 7 right now.
Okay.
8 if you count the buckling that's on the way.
We have 2, 3, how many? The buckling that's on the way. So she says this during the show, like it's,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's how you,
Yeah.
oh, congratulations, Don.
Yeah, thanks.
By the
We
way,
have a
honey,
couple of, none of them right now are producing milk, by the way. Out of all of these goats, not a single one is
Well.
producing milk right now. We had 2 of them producing milk, and now we're down to none because they're pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to give them a break. Just like women, we need a break every now and then.
And I keep telling her she doesn't. Her place is barefoot and pregnant, but she just hits me and does what she wants anyway. So
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Barefoot and pregnant.
We'll discuss that one later, honey.
And for all the anti-chauvinists on the show, that's Don Cupper. No,
stop.
stop.
And
Okay.
well, then we went into I met Nick, and that led to rabbits, and that led to quail from Scott, and then what else do we have? How many chickens do we have?
Ducks.
Well, yeah,
and
we have some
chickens.
ducks.
Oh, the chickens that was awesome. We were looking for the land, and we found the place, and we weren't quite out of our old place yet. And I came home with 8 chickens.
Oh.
8 chicks.
Nice.
So
Yeah, during a move.
during a move.
I'm like, I guess I
Planning.
got better. Yeah.
You're doing it wrong. Okay.
They were part of the redecorating, right?
They were.
Let's go
And
for
they
a
were all
country
different
living.
colors too, just to fit any sheen we went with.
Nice.
Yeah, so we kind of uprooted our lives. started the aquaponics business. I've been lucky, and I love you very much, honey. I've been lucky that my wife supports me in all of these stupid things that I do. So I was
very lucky.
Yeah.
How?
I could hear that over there.
Please amplify that so that CPS will know I'm being abused.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of businesses. This is not our first. This is, I mean, that's kind of who I am. I like to run businesses and start businesses. So, my wife has always pushed me in that direction. She's actually in school for psychology right now. And what else do you do? The oils?
I help people look for alternative health methods through essential oils and stuff like
Voodoo.
that. Voodoo.
She's a massage therapist.
I'm a massage therapist,
That's
a Reiki
good
master.
kind of voodoo.
A Reiki master. Yeah, she's got all these things that she does. So she's kind of like me. She likes just kind of dabbling and running businesses and all that. So we've been pretty successful and had fun doing it. And that's kind of what counts.
Yeah,
So-
as long as you're having a good time and getting along, right?
Yeah, the thing is most of the time, she gets into this.
If you could see, if all of the radio listeners out there could see what I just saw, Don nearly died from glare.
I don't look at her anymore.
That's the trick, honey. You just have to look
Don,
away.
don't look into her eyes,
I
dude.
know
You'll turn
better.
to stone
I
right
know better.
freaking now.
Hey now, hey. It's not that bad. I'll just slice you in half, that's all.
Whoa! She is a redhead, by the way.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
clarify out there.
I'm actually shaking. I'm so scared right now. But no, we've, I don't know what I was saying, so.
Train of thought derailed.
Yes.
Awesome.
Fear took over.
Oh, it's getting, you said most of the time everything's gumdrops and lollipops and you're doing okay.
Yeah, we've had our ups and downs too, and I think that's the last down we had was we had some family members have issues and legal issues, and we lost everything that we owned with a business that went south, and I mean we ended up
Moving in with my grandmother, and I found out I was pregnant with our third child, which was surprise, number 3.
Yay!
so
Happy day!
we've been through the ups and downs as well, and you know I always tell people I've been rich and I've been poor, and rich is better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
I second that.
But we were also, she's been getting into the minimalized living, and we've actually been thinking about tiny homes, and we've got some kids to kind of kick out yet.
Yeah.
But once that happens, I mean, we're, you know, I'd like to go completely off grid and say F it, frankly, to a lot of this stuff and get out of the system because I'm not happy with the system. So we talk about voting with our dollars for food.
Oh yeah. That's casting a major vote there.
Yeah, I don't know if we have time or the system will even be around by the time we can do this. But, you know, our plans are at some point to go, and this is practice. Mm-hmm. You know, what we have now is practice for that. At some point, we want to be completely self-contained, completely off-grid, and travel. I mean, be able to, you know, we'll have somebody there to help and we'll travel around.
Yeah, I like to travel. That's part of the whole moving thing. So it would be nice to be able to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and be able to travel and explore. I want to explore this beautiful world we live in.
I like that.
Radio nod.
Yeah, we've got radio nodding going on here. So, okay. We've touched on it that conflicts have arose. Differences in views, maybe, I don't know, one too many goats being bought or one too many late nights at the day job. How do you get over it? What's the trick? I mean, this wasn't supposed to be couples therapy hour, but there's a lot of people out there that have differing views between husband and wife.
Yeah, I think you got to find common ground. Just like in politics, you know, the food is a great uniter. Find your common ground. If you can do that, you can then branch off from there. What? She's like laughing at me. Common ground.
I've never
you know
heard
the
of
trick
it compared
say-
to politics. That's all. It was
Well,
just a new
It is
comparison.
politics. You got a right and a left, you know. The trick is to say, "I'm sorry, honey," and just say it
Do
a
you
lot.
realize the right
That's
and
the
left
trick.
are both owned by your wife?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my. Did all of the other male audience members just like stuck up there for a second? I'm sorry. That's extremely inappropriate, but whoa. Through the
This is
microphone.
what happens when you marry a redhead.
Oh my. I'll stick
Yeah,
with my blonde over here. Just kidding.
Communication.
We're just kidding. You're going to stick with her, aren't you?
I am.
Like, you're gonna announce something right now?
Well, honey, there's paperwork in the car. You were onto something there. You said communication.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to communicate, both from the aspect that each person grew up in a different environment with different set of communication and rules for communication. And then given our lovely societal means of communicating through text messages and emails, which can be
Very, very intimate, yes.
and vastly
Impersonal.
impersonal. Yeah, that's a
And
good word.
assumptive. Because you assume the feeling of the other person through the text. You don't actually know if sarcasm doesn't come across very
no.
easily in text.
It's the greatest way to miscommunicate is through text message.
Uh-huh.
So and we've definitely experienced that. But communication and learning to communicate on some level with each other that you both can understand, and having the patience or taking a time out to find the patience to do that, I think is really key, because sometimes it's not all gumdrops and lollipops.
Everything's associated with food with me, so
Yeah.
that hits home.
But yeah, I think communication, picking your battles too.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely picking your battles, because
And picking your weaponry.
there are
No, just
times
kidding.
where, I think about whether or not this argument is going to be worth something to me tomorrow, the next day, a week from now. If a week
She
from
knows
now
I'm
or a
going to win
month,
anyway, so I don't know why she was always
this is
worrying
exactly
about that.
why I picked my battles. Because if not, just remember the right and left, honey. Right and
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah,
just
no,
pull a
that's
switchblade out. Just to,
It's a cigar cutter.
oh, God. No, I like where you're going with that. And one thing that you're saying, pick your battles, but one thing that we need to remember is, remember who the enemy is. Remember that the enemy is the contra to your goals. And when you team up and you've got that common ground, like Don was saying, then the communication to remember the common ground and to remember the goals, then that's one thing that Sheree and I need to work on too, is at the end of the day, I'm like talked out and just done. I'm like, rah, just unzip the pants, sit on the couch and watch some Breaking Bad or whatever. And I really don't want conversation. I'm spent. But Sheree, oh, how was your day, honey? What'd you do today? I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
I worked
my butt off. And you want to talk about it? It's an awful day.
So,
Anyway.
Cherie, do you get the very short, simple answers to your questions at that point?
Usually, if I get an answer, usually it's like, get out of the way, you're in front of the screen. But no, I do. I get it. It depends on the day. I think our biggest communication issue usually arises with, he has wonderful ideas and he loves to share his wonderful ideas with a lot of people during the day. And a lot of times he forgets that I'm not one of those people that he shared his wonderful ideas with for the day. And so he comes home expecting me to be on page 1 or on page 12, and I'm still left on page 1 where he left me in the last conversation. And so a lot of times it's important too to make sure you take time at the end of the night to, even though for him, and he's spent and done, and a lot of times I am too, to make sure that you're both on the same page. Because a lot of times you forget, although you've told lots of people, everything that's going on, sometimes you forget about your spouse.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That does happen between us. He'll come home after dealing with a bunch of clients and he'll be short 1 or 2 word answers and whatnot and want to sit down and cuddle, and I'm looking at him like, so how's your day, honey? What did you do? And what did your clients do? And sorry, I get
Let's have an adult conversation, you and me.
Exactly.
Mush coming out of the male side there.
He's like, where's the clicker? Where's the TV clicker? I'm like, well, if you don't talk
clicker.
to me, I'm going to tell you where you can find it.
I just caught that. I'll give you the clicker. Open your mouth or... You're not going to say that next part. Never mind. Leave that alone. Oh, my dear.
Now you know why it's been 18 years. I'm too scared to leave.
Hey.
I'm reminded of a movie when you said that. The quote is, "I will find you, and I will kill you."
No, we have a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably the other key is to have fun doing what you're doing. I mean, you have fun with the goats. You have fun going out and feeding the animals, and even the rabbits. You've gotten into the rabbits a bit.
Yeah,
You have to talk on the radio.
I've grown. Sorry, I'm nodding again. I've grown much more fond of the rabbits and the goats and whatnot than, say, even my dogs, who just stand in the house and look at me.
Yeah, it's funny because you can see purpose in all of those other animals, and then the dogs are there, and it's like, huh, you're like kids that don't obey me, and you don't
and
even
chew
talk.
up all of my stuff and, tear my house apart. I'm like, I've already went through that. My youngest is 9.
I saw a thing the other day that said, cleaning the house while you own dogs is kind of like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. It just doesn't work.
All right.
Yeah. Same with kids. Between the two. So
yeah, have fun, communicate. As a guy, it's tough to remember that. But
Yeah, that last part's just kind of really hard to talk with a purpose. Yeah, I'm emulating that now.
we'll walk out and check on the aquaponics there in the evening and go out and feed the goats. And that's our time to get away from the children and actually have adult conversation and take care of the animals and be together.
Let's
and
get some goats and some aquaponics, honey. This is
so
Remember, they started with land.
Oh. Never mind.
Land, goats, aquaponics,
that's right.
and then walking.
Oh.
So what do you guys see for the future?
Let me grab out my orb real quick and, like our goals?
Yeah, well, yeah, and your prepping goals and
We need property. I'm able to do a lot in my backyard. It's very productive. Productivity isn't always happiness from the wife. She doesn't always like that. But I could get by in my backyard. It's just not as comfortable as I'd like it to be. So you're talking about the minimalist ideal, and I'm okay with buying a small...
minimalist, yes, but 40 acres, kind of minimalist.
Okay, yeah. See, you need a little bit of a spread. I could probably get by with 5 acres.
Yeah, that's the minimum we're looking at, 5, because we want to farm at least 5 of it. I think it's going to take 5 acres to support the food production for ourselves and family is probably 5 acres alone. So, I mean, we got lucky. We went to Portal and we met some people that were doing this stuff, and it was really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I mentioned it. They came out of L.A. as a fashion photographer and a fashion designer, I think, making some really good money. I think had some really good debts too.
Yeah.
And living that system, the fractional lending system that we have in this country, and ended up with some issues. She was pregnant. They moved out to this little, 20 acre place out there and did exactly what we were talking about, completely off grid. I think we want to do it differently. I do want to be off grid and I want solar, but I want a TV.
internet. I need my internet.
Yeah.
Well, just think, Don, you could surf the internet on bunny poop.
Yeah, I guess I could, huh, Nick? Have that gasifier out there making my nose bleed for a few days.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to build that into a ventilation system.
Yeah, I think so.
That again. We're gonna need the HEPA filter that Walter White used in Breaking Bad.
That's right.
Get rid of that
I
stuff.
actually, by the way, I posted the 2 videos on We Grow Ours, and if you go into it's not on the main page because it's not a show. You have to go under the show notes or blog, and I think I renamed it, so I think it's just show notes now. So go under there, you can see those pictures of the gasifier and the videos that you put up.
Oh, good.
Where
The
you
YouTube
described
ones?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to do that and share it out. But
So I've got a
ahead.
question for your wife. He likes fire. Have you noticed that? Because I've kind of noticed that.
I knew that from the first day we dated.
yeah, this is okay. We'll see about posting some pictures. I don't know, but Cherie's beautiful, and I've known that since I've met her. She's a good-looking girl. But the day I knew I could marry her, she had on my welding hood, a sweatshirt, welding gloves, and was asking what I needed her to cut when I'm just like, okay, I need to buy a ring. It just doesn't get any better than this.
Just love it.
And that night, we built a few things. We finished my golf ball cannon that shoots a golf ball about 350 feet per second. Yeah, I've got the longest drive out of anybody here. 750 yards, something like that. Anyway. And we took a siphon feed sandblaster, hooked it up to a bag of flour, and we were blowing flour into a dual combustion chamber that I made out of some parts of an air compressor. Not to get into details, I was able to make thrust out of flour and compressed air. It was inefficient and not all the fuel was burning, but we had flames going 5-6 feet off of this thing. And then when we got bored with that, we decided, hey, let's put a shop vac hooked up to a 5-gallon bucket and fill it full of flour and light a torch on the edge of it. 30-foot mushroom cloud. It was phenomenal. I'll leave it at that. It was so
is that
much
another
fun.
key to happiness? Is have your wife out there making fire with you?
Toast and stuff, you know. The family that burns together stays together. Not being the combustibles, but actually the action there. Anyway. Yeah, we had a lot of fun dating, and we graduated into rocket fuel. Uh-oh. And was this little gem here. Apparently, she didn't realize that rocket fuel has oxygen built into it. So we would make a brick of rocket fuel and then take little slivers off and warm it up to mold it into rockets. And we tried a little bit of it in the microwave to see if we could warm it up. I mean, we're talking half an ounce maybe.
Rocket fuel in the microwave. That must have been your bright idea?
The first one was, yeah.
Okay.
So we had this little ball that was malleable, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, Sheree stuck half a pound in the microwave. Hit the 30-second button. About 15 seconds into it. This thing's spinning around inside the microwave, and I'm like, Sheree's idea was, I'll just blow it out. Opens the microwave up and proceeds to blow on an already oxygenated fuel source. The house fills full of, like, gray smoke. All the smoke alarms are going off. We're at my now in-laws, by the way. So this isn't like my apartment or something that I can just explain away to the neighbors. No, I married into this family and this story is stuck. And, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We'll just say the story ended with whoops.
They usually do.
But what was funny, and this is how cool my in-laws are. My father-in-law was kind of pissed off, but my mother-in-law comes in and she sees her microwave is toasted. I mean, it burned through the front cover. Everything inside was just char black, and I think the plate was cracked. I don't know. It was bad. She's like, well, I guess I'm getting a new microwave. I can get a potato button. Yeah, a potato button. I'm like, yeah, you can get a potato button. We did this for you. We did this for you, mom to be. This was your day. And, yeah, so she's way cool. I mean, we lit multiple rockets in the backyard, and I perfected the negative space De Laval nozzle that we were working on, and, a few other things. I mean, we had zip lines in the backyard that these rockets would ride down, and it was awesome. But, anyway, so find somebody compatible if you're not already married. If you're not compatible with her, well, trade her in. No, just kidding. Hit that common ground and set some goals together. I think that's the key to this. And, with that in mind, we'll be married for a long time, I think. At least forever. So.
At least.
Yeah. We're getting a radio nod over here.
Yeah. She gets you good presents too, like AR-15s and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
By the way, honey, he
Christmas.
got an AR-15.
because your dogfighting adventure wasn't a good present.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I got to go dogfighting, like in an airplane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my. Next year?
Hey, you want to go skydiving?
I can't.
Why?
I'm a fat guy and my back's broken.
Oh, that's right. How about you, Sheree? You want to go skydiving?
I'd go skydiving.
Did you just invite my wife?
I did.
Well, wait. I'm happy to stay on the ground with you and we can watch them.
She's going. She
I'm not
has to go
going.
because it's
On
one
the
of
next
my dreams.
episode of Wife Swap,
Nope, it's one of
Angie
my
and Nick are grounded.
This is where you find that common ground because it's one of my dreams to go skydiving. And I won't do it without sharing it with my wife. So therefore she has to go with me. And I know she will because she wants to see my dreams come true. Just like I want to see hers come true.
I'm just hoping my heart doesn't stop the moment I step out of the plane.
You don't step, you jump.
No. Someone's going to have to give me the grand push from behind. And I might still be attached to the outside of the plane, so.
It's like claw marks going down the fuselage.
Well,
Nice.
Nick, this has been fun.
Yeah, we'll have to have the missuses on again sometime.
Yeah, Sheree, what do you think? You want to come on again?
Sure.
Yay! And you, dear?
Yes, I'll do that.
Yay!
All right. So we've got a plug of the week real quick.
Oh, cool. Yes.
It's actually where Mrs. Klein works.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sheree. Tell them about Ron Olson and his podiatry office. Awkward silence. So what we do is every week we pick out a company that we either know the people that work there or have done excellent service. Well, I'll tell you, Ron is my uncle, and he actually worked on my feet a little bit, and he put these inserts in. It took him like 5 minutes to get my shoes fixed up right, and I've had like duck flat feet forever. He put these things in. I've been walking straight. I don't feel like a freak anymore, and I don't quack or waddle. It's awesome.
You stopped quacking and waddling?
Yes.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Just like that. One visit with Mr. Ron Olson, and we're good to go. What's the name of the company?
Advanced Foot and Ankle.
Advanced Foot and Ankle. Ankle.
And website? Facebook? Do you know any of it?
I know the email address.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll put the, get me the website. I'll put it on the show at WeGrowOurs.com. We have show notes, and every episode you can read about it. At the end, we have the mentions as the new format, and I'll put a link to it as well.
Awesome. I'll get it
Address,
for you.
whatever you guys want. So.
And I believe Ron is going to be putting together some medical supply bags too that he wants to set up like suture kits and.
Oh, we need a suit. She's like, yeah. My wife's like, yay!
There
We
you
need
go.
that.
Not only for us, but for the animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
I would wash them in between uses. But,
Yeah.
You know.
Thanks for that. Good advice, man. Thank you.
All right. On that note, we're going to have to wrap it up for this week.
Yeah.
Thank-
Join us at WeGrowOurs.com on Facebook at Facebook.com/WeGrowOurs, on Twitter at WeGrowOurs. And what else do we have?
Stuff. I don't know.
Oh, PrepperBroadcasting.com.
There you go.
I knew I was missing one. Mondays at 8 p.m. Central. Right now, they're doing a lot of new stuff, so be sure and go check that out.
Yes.
We've got some good company on Mondays, and I'm really looking forward to the lineup on Mondays. They have live format now. They're going to a full live format, 24 hours type thing. We'll still be pre-recorded most of the time. Check out our episode 10 only on PrepperBroadcasting.com.
There you go.
So
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Woo-hoo.